Hi, everybody. It's Tim Constantine from the Washington Times, joined by David Bozell for America. David, how are you, my friend?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Thank you. Iran.
Yeah.
Let's do a little history lesson here with Iran. I was in 9th grade when the religious zealots in Iran took over, kicked the Shah out and took over. And they took a country that at that time had the best universities, the best hospitals, the best of everything. They were the shining diamond of the Middle East, and they threw themselves back into the Stone Age. Through oppression, through anger, through violence, they have carved themselves out a country that really is an embarrassment as you go around the world. But they haven't limited it to their own borders. And what they've done over the years has been a constant thorn in the side of the United States. 45 years later, 2024, they're taking that to a whole new level. They have proxy groups. They have the Houthis. They have Hezbollah. They have Hamas, all of whom they fund, all of whom they make sure have certain military training, military hardware. And now those groups are actually attacking not only Israel, not only Saudi Arabia, but United States interests, United States targets, United States ships. What's the correct answer for the United States?
We had 3 servicemen and women get killed the other day, or about a week ago. The Biden response, they took a few days. They unleashed a barrage of rocket attacks and missile attacks. According to the Associated Press, 85 installations were targeted in 7 different locations. And according to a British human rights operation, again, within the Associated Press reporting, 29 rank and file members of these militias were killed. All that is to say that I'm kind of wondering, why hasn't the Biden administration made that claim yet? I've yet to hear the Biden administration confirm or deny that they killed 29 people in response to R3 being killed. I can remember a time where a United States president, if some bad guys attacked us and we needed to respond, at some point or another, a United States president would say, we came, we saw, we kicked their ass. You haven't seen Biden say anything about this response and confirm anything that the Associated Press is reporting. So I remember when Barack Obama gave us a lecture about, remember when he called it ISIL?
Yes.
And he gave us a lecture. I remember Britt Hume on Fox saying something, and it still translates to this day. How serious was Barack Obama about the ISIL threat? And Britt Hume said, you'll know if he's serious if he continues to talk about it throughout the summer. Barack Obama never said another word about ISIL for another 3 months. He wasn't serious. I don't think Joe Biden wants to let his base know that he's defending American interests. See the airports that are being shut down every other weekend by his base. A lot of young people protesting what's going on in Gaza and other places. I don't think he wants to champion American interests very publicly for political interests.
Senator Lindsey Graham said this past week that the president was not doing enough, that the response wasn't enough, and he thought we should target items and people right in Iran. Is that going too far?
Senator Graham would start a war every other weekend if he could. So I think 29 people is a good response for 3 dead, I think, so long as the American interests have been recaptured and refortified and resolidified. But I don't see the American president confirming that any of that was done, and that concerns me. I think it gives credence to Senator Graham's concern. Like, you don't know if the response has been adequate.
You mentioned how it was 3 American troops that were killed. And I think in terms of, in my neighborhood, if a kid throws a snowball at my car, you don't really respond. Do you think that's unpleasant? That's too bad, but you let it go. If someone eggs your house, it might be frustrating. You might have to spend Saturday afternoon cleaning the front of your house, but you let it go. But if they start breaking windows, or if they attack one of your children, you're going to get more aggressive in how you respond. Where on that scale are we? Are the proxy groups for Iran throwing eggs at the house? Or when they kill American troops, are they now attacking my children?
I think, well, there's the latter. I think the proxy groups have they've certainly escalated things in the region. The killing of the American troops is a Rubicon you cannot allow to be crossed again. Unfortunately, given the fact that I don't think the president is going to follow through, and just as Barack Obama didn't, take this seriously. I don't think the President Biden wants to take this seriously in a very public manner, given what I just described, given how his base is so adamant against protecting American interests. So if he doesn't continue with the response to a satisfactory level, I just think the American response is over with at this point.
You may remember when the United States had Osama bin Laden cornered, and that was during the Obama administration, and they went around the room. Hillary Clinton was Secretary of State. They had the Joint Chiefs there. They had then Vice President Joe Biden. And before they gave the green light, they went around the room and one by one said, do we go? In your opinion, do we go? Ultimately, the decision was Barack Obama, but he wanted to hear from everyone in the room. Everyone in the room said, go. We know he's there. We know it's him. This is an opportunity. Except Joe Biden.
Right.
Joe Biden said, no, I'm not so sure we should go. What motivates Joe Biden to respond or not respond to threats to America?
He probably hadn't figured out how to get 10% of a kickback yet. And if he had, then he would say go, which is, but I mean that kind of with half sincerity. He has been wrong on every major foreign policy question since he got here. Since he got here 42 years ago, 44 years ago, he has been in the exact opposite camp of what should have been done. Just look at the withdrawal from Afghanistan, just a complete and utter debacle on how that was accomplished. So I just don't have a lot of faith in this administration. I'm one of these guys that, if the president calls for American treasure to go inside the boundaries, we got to support that call. Once American life and treasure is called upon, we've got to support our military, our servicemen and women. But I don't have a lot of faith in this administration to do the right thing with regards to Iran, particularly when they continue to open up the financial spigots.
Final question. You mentioned how Lindsey Graham would go to war every other week if he could. But what is the level at which we do go to Iran? What would have to happen to properly provoke that response?
Well, any more serious loss of life, and now we're talking about those types of outcomes. Beyond that, I'm willing to protect life at all costs, particularly young people who are volunteering to serve our interests. So to the extent that we can diplomatically solve it, even if we have to run out a clock to get to another regime, to start the clock again, I think those efforts, and I think, one of the things that President Trump does not get enough credit for was how good he was at this, at diplomacy. North Korea comes to mind, China comes to mind, but also Iran. And he was tough. He cut off the financial spigots. You did not see a lot of antagonism out of Iran during his administration. So it can be done without a full-throated military response. But any more loss of life, any more attacks of that nature, we're going to have to start seriously considering going in.
For America, he is David Bozell from the Washington Times. I'm Tim Constantine. Thanks for joining us.